everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie, and today I am going to do a layout share of the layouts I did for International Scrapbook Day this past weekend. And I actually pulled out an older project that I started a year ago. So this is my trip to South America, which I went on a cruise in 2019, and I have a ton of photos, so I'm going to have a ton of layouts. I did this little book while I was traveling. It's super chunky. It's got all my journaling and little bits and bobs and stuff in here. I don't remember if I've ever shown this on my YouTube channel. If I haven't and you're interested, let me know and I can always do a flip through of this. But basically, the majority of my journaling is already done in here, so I don't feel the need to do a lot of journaling on these pages because I'm treating this like a companion to these albums. And so I do put a little bit of journaling, just a little bit to give reference and stuff, but like all my thoughts and feelings, how excited and all that kind of stuff is all in this book. Okay, so when I did this last year, when I started on this album, I pre-printed a bunch of photos, had a bunch of sketches ready to go, and I kind of just worked all over the place, a little bit haphazard. And so when I re-picked up this project, I had a group of photos from the first couple days of my trip that it still needed to be done, so I worked on those, and then I printed the next chunk. So that's what all of these are, and I still, like I said, have a ton left to do. So this is actually everything I did this weekend. By weekend, I actually started on Thursday, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I didn't really do anything on Sunday. Most of these were done using sketches, although some of them don't look anything like the sketch that I started with. But anyways, I'm going to share with you all of these. If you're interested in close-ups, I am going to try and take photos of them and post them over on my Instagram account. And my Instagram account is A Creatively Crafted Life, just like the YouTube channel name. So one other thing before I get started is I have a mega kit that I put together, and it is using primarily 4 different collections. It's using the Go See Explore from Echo Park, the Pinkfresh Out and About, this was actually my inspiration, the Here and There collection. I don't have very much of this left. I didn't have a ton of it to start off with. And the last one was the BU collection from Pinkfresh. So that's kind of the color scheme I got going on here. So this was my main inspiration. There's enough overlap between this and this that I thought would work. And then same with the two Pinkfresh lines. And then the Here and There was just kind of fun to throw in. So anyways, those are the collections. And then I just pulled some other additional random bits and pieces from my stash to make the kit. If you're interested in seeing where the kit is at this point, let me know and I can always do a walkthrough of that. But it is a mega kit. Like it's massive. Okay, so without further ado, let's get doing. Oh, I should also tell you, in all the layouts, I scrapbooked 126 photos. So 126 photos, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so the first layout I put together is this grid layout with a bunch of small, roughly 2x2 photos. This is of a winery, and this is primarily the BU collection. Then this was a trip to a local restaurant when we were in port. This is primarily the Here and There, same with this page over here, and this is just some different sites that we saw along the drive back to the cruise ship. You will notice that I love linear, but every now and then I throw a little, you know, skewed photo in, and I love pattern paper. And I am not really good at doing embellishments, so I tend to be a little bit more minimal, and every now and then I go a little bit crazy. So a little bit eclectic, I guess you could say. This one here is when we're about to cast off, so we were going to leave the port, And this one here is primarily using the Go See Explore collection from Echo Park, as is this one here. Now in this particular layout, this strip up here is actually balloons. I don't know if you can tell that. I trimmed it in such a way so that it wasn't obvious that they were balloons, because balloons really had nothing to do with this. And I know balloons can be symbolic for adventure and travel and that kind of thing, but I tend to be a little more literal, although I'm working on it, not being quite so literal. And look, even though it's askew, it's still pretty linear. This one here is when we were in Lima and the next day's excursion, I guess you could say. So we toured the cathedral, so all of these are pictures inside the cathedral. This is the exterior, and I thought that kind of was fun to have the two big triangles opposite. Then we went to, and I'm going to butcher this because I don't speak Spanish very well, but Casa Aliaga. And it's an old colonial mansion in the middle of the city, and you would never be able to tell from the street. It's completely hidden. You have to walk in through a door, and then you enter a courtyard, and then into the museum, into the house itself. And so we got to tour a few of the rooms, which was really quite fun. Oh, and this here, I believe, is stuff from my stash and some stuff from the Here and There collection. Then we went and toured a convent, and this is pretty much all out and about, except for these black stickers. They were from Park Lane, so Hobby Lobby. On this page here is also using the Out and About collection. I used this map paper that's included in it to represent, you know, us driving through the city, and so these are just different things again we saw from the bus. And then we stopped at a park, I think it's called the Park of Love, and it's really pretty. It reminded me of Park Güell in Spain, in Barcelona, and it supposedly is inspired by that, so that's, or at least parts of it are, so that was kind of fun. Again, all out and about. Every time we start a new day, I like to put in a 12 by 12 photo. So you didn't see that earlier because of course I had done that page previously, but this is representing a new day. So usually I put some sort of embellishment and then the name of the port or where we are at as part of the decor. And then on this one, I thought it would be fun to dig out my stamps. So this is done with stamps, same with the boat. I paper pieced that, and then the clouds are also from the stamped images. I used just white and vellum. And then I had a piece of yellow from my stash. That's the same with this. Turquoise is also from my stash, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of represent the sun. And then this background paper here, or this strip here, is from Out and About. So even though I'm using the same collections over and over again, I think the pages all look different, and partly because I'm using 3 different collections, and also partly just because of the way you mix things up. So this one here is a Go See Explore page primarily, another little grid and just layered on some chipboard and stickers. And over here on this side, this was the BU collection, and this is just a piece of chipboard that I just used some oxide sprays on to make the little cactus, even though I don't think we saw any cactus there, but you know, it's kind of deserty. And this was a pyramid that we got to go and see, which was probably one of my highlights from the trip. This one here is very busy, but I was inspired by the art inside the pyramid. I thought this floral kind of worked well with the colors, and then this kind of random geometric shape kind of worked with the blocks and stuff, so I thought that was kind of fun. I think there's 5 different pattern papers on here, but I think it works because the colors are similar, and I left quite a bit of white space. And I also use black lines, which I think helps break it up a little bit. At least that's my theory. Okay, so for this one, I actually broke out a little mixed media, and I stenciled these this brick in the background to kind of try and emulate the exterior of the pyramid. And I used this Heidi Swap metallic texture paste, thinking it would be a pretty good match, but it ended up being a little too bright. So I ended up going over it with some gesso just to tone it down. And I think it looks like a little better of a match. And a lot of it ended up getting covered up with photos anyways. This is the BU collection. And then this 2-page layout here, this is all the Out and About collection. Didn't do anything really special, just, you know, another linear kind of design. This page here, I hardly did anything. Well, I mean, I wouldn't even say I did anything. The paper was just in my stash. I think it might be a Studio Calico paper. It had this diagonal design on here, and it also had the grid already. So literally all I did was add my photos, the title, these 3 little hearts. These were from Freckled Fawn, and a subtitle and a little bit of journaling, and that was it. So this is a super, super, super simple page. So then on this page I felt I needed to make up for it a little bit, so I did some mixed media background on here. Again, I just stenciled with some ink and then added some Heidi Swap Color Shine in the backdrop. Yeah, so that was that layout. You'll notice I use a lot of different sizes of photos, and that's because I like to see quite a bit of white space. I don't like to fill the whole thing up, but I do want to get a lot of photos in because I take a lot of photos. Okay, so this side here is used primarily with the Go See Explore collection. I played a lot with just different stripes of pattern paper. I really like how this one turned out. And then this was another New Day 12 by 12 photo, and again I just embellished up here at the top, and this was all pretty much with the Here and There collection from Cray Paper. Almost done. This one here, I actually brought in some new paper. So I got a pad of paper from Tuesday Morning. It was called Coastal. It's die cuts with a view, and it's got a lot of these turquoise and blues and peachy corally colors, which I think actually go quite well with the Out and About collection. So this particular sketch had a bunch of strips of pattern paper, and I thought I would use the paper that came in that pad that had all these words. I just cut them up and, you know, added little nail marks to kind of make them look like they're wood signs that have been tackled on. I really like how this one turned out. And then this was from a Echo Park sticker sheet called Ahoy There. Oh no, it's Cartabella, sorry, Cartabella Ahoy There sticker sheet. And it has the blue and turquoise and red, so I figured I can make that work. That was a recent purchase. So I think they had a sale or something and I picked some up. And then I did an 8.5 by 11 sheet here. And the reason why I did that is because we got a certificate for crossing the equator. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to just put it in an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So a few more pictures of the parade, which was really, you know, the big event, I guess, for the day. I had some of these elements from the BU collection, and they're actually supposed to be leaves, but I thought they kind of look like coral, so it kind of went with the theme. I didn't embellish this at all, just left it as is. And then the last page that I did was this one here, and this one was from the Go See Explore. And even though we were in South America, we ate at a French restaurant, and so I found a way to use the Eiffel Tower. So that is that layout. So these are all the layouts that I did for International Scrapbook Day. I will take photos and will be posting them periodically. They're not all going to go up at once. So they will be posted periodically over on my Instagram account. So if you want a closer look, be sure to go and check them out there. It's a creatively crafted life. I highly encourage you to maybe start a project or restart a project that you've put off. This one was a year for me since I last worked on it. It was fun to get back into it, although it did take a little bit to get going. But now that I've gained some momentum, I'm really looking forward to, you know, working more on this and hopefully getting it done soon. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting.